Hello, hello, hello. Ridgeway Racing here in the Dallara F3 car at Watkins Glen boot configuration. This configuration of the track has not been raced at all by this car. At least I didn't see anything in the world record standings historically to reference some lap times. But for this season, the setups, again, they'll be posted on www.patreon.com/Ridgeway Racing. All that information and track conditions, weather conditions, all that stuff will be found in the description of this video. And then what else? Oh, so this season, what I'm doing is I'm putting the testing setups up on the Patreon. This week we had an A, B, and C setup, and then one of those turns into the qualifying race setup. It'll still have a B in there somewhere and a number in there to let you know it's the first version of the B setup. So you'll be able to, try these like testing setups a little bit earlier than the week starts, at least, at the same time I'm testing them. And then one of those will be a race setup. And if you follow, subscribe, hit the Patreon and race those, you can always send me a little feedback. Tell me what you like. You might like one of the test setups better than the one I chose to publish, and I can tweak it up for you, turn it to a little qualifying race setup. All right, but let's get into it. We'll do a nice little corner by corner analysis. That'll be followed by an Cockpit Cam, no voice overlap, and then a nice little chase cam, no voice overlap. So let's get it going.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
All right, so for the fast lap on this video, it's like a 137.4. This is the qualify setup. This will be the end of the first full lap after the out lap, and then this is the final lap of that qualify setup. So we head into turn one to quick on the brake, let off and get on the gas. On this one, you can go a bit wider here, but we'll play it a little slowly. So as we get in here on the left, we got the 200 board and then the 100 board. Oh, that was double slow motion. Single slow motion, you can see the telemetry right about there. So I would say the 150-meter boards where you want to start braking. You're in sixth gear, you brake heavy, you get down to fourth, release the brake, turn the car. We got more rotation, and then here you should be able to go a little bit wider. So if we put this camera on, I didn't go as wide for this one. I've had really good speed not going over this curb, but you can go over this curb keeping the right two tires on the red and yellow over there. Um, it was just the same as last season. That's good to go. That will be turn one. Following turn one will be turn two, three, and four. They're all flat out, but it's really just take your line, hug the curb, take this line, hug the curb, try not to hit the curbs, and then as you take this last one, just sort of slowly get over to the left side, and you can stay over there. And then we hit the boot. This is why it's called the boot. Slow it down, turn it. It probably took a lot of curb. You could hear the car even scratching the ground a little bit, but I still ended up being a pretty fast lap. So as I come into this, what am I looking for? I'm coming in. I'm really not even looking at any of these boards on the right, but I guess it happens around 150 or 200. I start to turn in and then let off the throttle with a little bit of brake, even coast a little bit and get back on the throttle. And you can hit this curb all you want. You can hit all these curbs all you want, but this first curb can really unsettle the car. Gotta be a little careful over this one. If you take a little too much of it, you're gonna lose a lot of traction trying to get through the rest of it. I think you probably want to do it smooth so you don't heat up the tires too much, because this next turn right here, this will be turn 5, and it takes a lot of grip. And then with this setup, it's definitely got a little oversteer feel to it. So take all that oversteer on entry and then just try to manage the oversteer on exit. You can go wide there. It's a little faster if you don't, but go wide if you're managing the oversteer. Don't try to avoid going over that curb. That was for turn 5. And then as we go into turn 6 out of it, you're coming out of turn 5, maybe you stay off the curb, maybe you go wide, you can go pretty wide there. This little thing on the right, man, this is basically my marker. It's this little bit of concrete right there. Probably easier to see this way. I'm looking at that, but as soon as I'm looking at that, I'm looking in the corner immediately afterwards. So as I come on this one, as I pass this one rather, let's see here, we'll play it a little slow motion. I might hit the brakes earlier than I'm stating, but right about at that curb, maybe a little before it. I'm getting on the brake. I'm slowly trail braking it. We're going from either fifth or sixth, depending on where you're at, down to fourth, throttling it out. But if you look on board real quickly, we're getting on the brake, and then as we're turning, we're letting off the brake, trail braking. You can even grab a little bit of this curve here on the left, and then you really get on throttle as quick as you can, and you go really wide here. Like, you can see my grass marks previously. I don't even think that was off track from those, so don't be afraid to just hold on to it with the throttle match down. Into turn seven, I feel like this is a very tricky corner. We are, it's the 100 board, maybe a little before the 100 board, but it's not, you want to carry this. I mean, with all these corners, you really want to carry the speed, or a lot of them at least. But you can see the telemetry there. It's like slow down, get on the brakes, slow down enough where you can start slow down slowly, really slowly turn it in, be nice and smooth. And then and even with the throttle ramp up, it's just manage the car as you're throttling up. And then you should be in fourth gear as you're getting out of here. Maybe as the car straightens out, but you can see I'm running third, and I got to shift to fourth before the exit's finished, which is okay. And then into turn eight, it's probably around what I would call 150, 125. The braking's right there. It's heavy on the brake, down to third. A little trick here is you get a little more rotation when you're in a higher gear. It's less of a we'll call it like a gyroscopic force there, but on this one, sometimes I'll not shift all the way down to third and shift into third right before I hit the throttle. I didn't there, just quickly downshifted, but right around 150, getting on the brake, down to third, turning in, and then I even want to get on the throttle a little earlier. You can go really wide here if you need to. It doesn't make it that much faster, but it could if you actually went really fast through the corner and carried a little bit more speed. But for this corner, I think we did pretty good. There's a little bit of time to gain there for sure. And then in this one's tricky. As you're coming uphill here, when you get on the brakes, you have so much, you have so much ability to brake. You're coming uphill, and then as you turn the car, it's sort of the track is now, changing its level relative to what horizontal and flat is. So it's sort of, you feel like you're almost tilting over to the right. It's really easy to catch a little understeer, a little bit of oversteer. But what I do with this one is like heavy on the brake, manage it, and try to get back on throttle, ramping it up slowly till you feel confident that you're not going to go off to the right there. Because this little bit, you can get up on the curves, but you got to get back over before you hit that grass. If you catch a back right tire in the grass, you're gonna do a quick little 180 or hopefully a 360, go back straight again, or get slammed by somebody behind you that didn't expect you to be terrible at driving a race car. But yeah, get on the brake, turn it, go, 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 and just manage the car with that getting on throttle. This one's full throttle through here, pretty easy. Now this one's the one you get all your time in if you can get it right. I don't even think this one's the best, but I feel like we carried a lot of speed here. You can catch a little bit of this grass over to the left. I try not to do it, but it's a it's a little trick there. If this grass over to the left, you get on it, you can get a little bit of rotation with the car and just throw it in there, but you got to be wary of the wall on exit. But we'll just talk about how I did it on this one. Go half speed here. I think I'm trying to turn a little bit and then let off the throttle as the turn happens and get back on throttle as soon as possible. It's a little bit of braking. You want to be kind of nice with it, and just focus on carrying all that speed, getting that car rotated, getting on throttle, and not hitting this wall, which I believe we got pretty close to on this one. Hit it a bunch in testing. I grabbed a little curb here. Sometimes it helps with rotation, sometimes it unsettles things, but you know, every time you go through the corner, you go through it differently. Here we go, back to play, and then bam, we had ourselves a nice little 137.4. That was my personal best. It was on a qualify setup, which was good. That'll be good for getting a decent position in the qualifies for the officials. And then the race setup did pretty well. I've done a full stint with it. Tires weren't too bad. Everything with the tires felt real balanced. The tire wear is nice and balanced front to back. Last season, I remember we had a lot of trouble with the rears, but it was Watkins Glen no chicane, I believe, last season, and it was the first week with the new physics update, so it was a little bit tricky getting set up, so we didn't know what we were doing. But this season we got something to work off of. We had a season of tweaking setups, and so I'm hoping that these this season we have even better ones. And I hope you enjoy this setup. I hope you find it to be a very confident setup, and I don't make them like alien pace. So I'd probably say they're astronaut pace. But if you need any help tuning it down, maybe you think it's a little too lively or something, send me a message and I'll hook you up. But for the next part, we're gonna do the in cockpit cam lap, and that'll be followed by the chase cam lap. And don't forget to hit that subscription. Hit the like buttons, all those things. And appreciate all the love for everybody supporting me out there. And let's get it this season.